to How I Spent the Apocalypse, Drought Edition. It seems to me like we can't catch a break. Between the right-wingers just going crazy and taking all our civil rights away, and the weather, and the pandemic, now we have one of the worst droughts we've had in a long time for our area. And it's, not only do we have that, but we have, even for this time of year, we have unseasonable heat. We have been triple digits now for
almost 3 weeks.
Almost 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And you're saying, but you're watering. And I'm like, yes, I am watering, and here's why. At any moment now, although I'm going to have Deb turn it off. Deb, turn off the hose, please. At any moment now, we could have water restriction in our area. So when the drought started, I stopped using the water in my tanks, and I've capped them off. And I've left them alone, and I'm watering with city water. Because if they restrict us, I'm going to have to use the water in the tanks just to keep my garden alive. There's not enough water in the tanks, as big as those tanks are, and as many as there are. There's not enough to keep all of this going. So you might have noticed there hasn't been as many of these. It's a couple of reasons. First off, it didn't monetize, so what's the point? I love you. But there's lots of other reasons. I recently, about, what are we going on, 6 weeks now? I had the worst ME flare that I've had in probably 6 years. In fact, if you look, you can see that I have ME rash all over my legs. I have lesser parts of it on my back. That's the worst of it's on my legs this time. Okay, but it's 110 heat index most days with actual heat of 101 to 103 for now going on what, 5 weeks?
It's going on 3 weeks without any break, and there was like some couple days in the 90s, and then we were hundreds before that.
Okay, yeah.
And it's going to be 107 tomorrow.
It's supposed to be 100. It's supposed to be 105 today without heat index. We got a mild rain, not enough to
wet the ground.
Well, not enough to actually settle the dust. But that was the most rain we've had in
all that time.
Weeks.
All that time.
And so we'll take it, because it'll actually, believe it or not, those little bit of rains, they actually help the trees, and they actually help the grass and the pastures. Okay, so let's talk about this a minute. So, because I got up early in the morning, I came out, I trimmed, and again, you guys are watching backwards, but
yes.
There you go. I got up early in the morning, I trimmed down all the water iris, which were literally laying down in the pond, because they get about this tall.
Right.
Once they're done blooming, you should just cut them down. I never get to it till they all lay down and make a mess. Okay, so I cut out all the water iris, and I put it here on the thing. You can see there's a pile of it over there to dry for a couple of days, because it's super heavy when it's wet. Okay, so now, and of course, I don't water the water iris around this pond, because it will go into shock and it'll die down, but it doesn't have to be watered to live.
Right.
Even though it's water iris, unless we have a super extreme drought, it's going to do just fine. Okay, but the pump had stopped working when the neighbor's dogs got in there 2 years ago. And among all the other shit, I just didn't even bother to fix it. So what did I do? I took the pump out, took the end off, pulled all the guts out, cleaned it real good, and put it back together, put it back in the water. And now, if she'll look, you can see it's running out of the water feature.
Yes, it's actually pumping.
And I cleaned the filter, put it back together, and that'll help. Now, the fish don't give a shit one way or the other. The fish are doing just fine, but you can't see them when the water's this dirty.
No, and it's hot, so they stay down.
And Zeb is overdoing it. Okay, so one of the things that happens, a lot of you might think my trees are dying when you look at them and they look like this. They're not. What they're doing is they're losing leaves to use less water.
Right.
Okay? I'm still watering these when I can, but I'm also, even though I'm using the city water right now, I'm not trying to overuse it. I'm not trying to be one of the problems that's going to make us have restrictions. So I'm watering them just a little bit, just enough to keep them from dying, basically, because some of these plants will die if they don't, red buds will die if they don't get any water. But at any rate, I have my grandson. I didn't mean for him to do as much as he's done. These dead leaves in this condition are a fire hazard.
Right.
Okay, so I've had him rake them up a bunch. Here's Zeb.
Yes.
Zeb, say hello to the folks.
Hello, the folks.
Okay. And so what I'm doing is I'm taking all of the irises. So what we're doing is we're trying to get ready as much as we can. We're trying to protect the homestead from fire, and we're trying to get as ready as we can for what might be possible water restrictions, and just to make our plants a little healthier in the drought. So what we're doing is we're going to take all of this stuff that right now, this is dried for a few days, and so it's literally like a popcorn fart. What is a popcorn fart? That's a weight. If you don't know popcorn fart, why did you not learn that in school? Were you gone when they talked about weight and measures? Anyway, I'm going to clean this all up, and now it weighs nothing. When I first cut it, it was super heavy. But just, that's how dry it is. This has only been here 3 days. You can tell by the amount of color that this plant still has. This has only been here 3 days, and it's already dried it completely out. And it's weightless. Remember that. Don't say I didn't teach you anything. Popcorn fart. Pass it on to your children and your children's children. Okay, Zeb, bring me that rake, eh? Okay. So, I don't know if I've shown you this trick before. If I have, shoot me. Now, they've made these little hand things that you can pick stuff up with that are basically the same thing that I've always done with 2 leaf rakes. So I'm going to just rake this shit up. And I use the little hand things, mostly when I'm doing hay. Okay, so.
Now you need the other rake too.
Yeah, now I need the other rake too. Basically what I do, I just take that, oh so simple, oh so easy, and I don't have to bend over. Like with the leaf scoops, you have to bend over. So with that, all I have to do is that. Wow! That's it. Say, wow, that's amazing.
That's an amazing thing. You should tell me more.
All right. That was not staged.
No, not at all.
Not at all.
And he was not coached at all.
Well, I'd say, so now that I've got this, I'm going to go to the garden and use it for mulch. Because mulch helps you have to use less water. It helps your ground retain more water. Helps your plants to live in the drought.
We will rejoin you there.
Okay.
We're on.
Okay, it's midday. These plants were watered last night, and you can see they're already wilted.
Yep.
Everywhere. And this is with that chicken shit rain. What? Oh, please. At any rate. Okay, so our poor tomatoes have not done well this year because we put them in during the monsoon season.
No choice, it had to go
And
in.
now we're in the middle of a drought.
Yeah.
Now, so all we're getting now is the fruit that already set that's ripening. It won't set any more fruit in this heat. So what we're trying to do is keep the damn tomatoes alive long enough for us to get through the drought.
And she showed you before she put cardboard down there. She's got
I
it.
put cardboard down as mulch, and now I'm basically putting this on top of the cardboard for an extra layer. And hopefully we'll be able to keep our tomatoes alive through this thing. But when okay, so this is a fire hazard. Well, now you got a fire hazard in your garden? No, because you water your garden.
Right, right.
So when you water this, it'll like right now it looks really tall. Ooh, you got a deep mulch bed. Water it twice.
Yeah.
Water it twice will be about that thick.
Yeah, yeah.
But it'll still keep the roots of the plants cool, and that's what you're trying to do. Keep the roots of the plants cool. And hope for the best. Because like I said, this garden was watered last night. It's not even noon yet.
Yeah.
Everything's wilted.
Yep.
But I am still getting some stuff. Look here. There's my melons.
Oh, yes.
I've got quite a crop of melons coming on. So I'm keeping it alive enough. We're still getting squash. Although the leaf miners have killed 3 hills of my squash so far, and they're working on a 4th.
Yeah, I can see that.
But that's what happens. But at any rate, so I'm gonna go now and pick up more leaves from my grandson that he did, and you'll see we'll have a whole wheelbarrow full of leaves.
Okay, good.
And otherwise, just a fire hazard.
Yep.
So he's raked it into lines. Now we're raking in the tile. Because you can't pick up lines. So he's put in tile. As you can see, how long have you been raking, Zeb?
While?
About 15, 20 minutes?
Yeah.
About 15, 20 minutes. We're going to have at least 2 wheelbarrows full of shit. Now, if you just don't want the fire hazard and you don't have a garden to worry about mulching or anything, you can just run your mower and mulch this up, because it won't catch on fire
As easily.
keep burning and go
Yeah,
if it's mulch.
right.
In fact, try lighting grass clippings on fire sometimes.
Yeah.
They just smolder.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But at any rate, that's what we're doing. And then what are we doing? What we've been doing for the last, week and a half, Zeb? Week.
Yeah.
Last week, what we do is, I usually do a little bit in the morning. Zeb helps me sometimes. Then the rest of the day, we spend in the pool, or for my sci-fi fans out there, watching Star Wars and the Orville, Family Guy,
Yay.
Bob's Burgers. Thank you. Come again.